The Four-Footed Whore. Morning, noon, and night the man kicked at the little black dog. For some reason the dog was always dripping wet, even on hot sunny days. And the man could not stand the smell of its damp fur. He tried to chase the dog out of his cabin. He threw his boots at it and even shot at it, but nothing ever frightened the little black dog. Finally, he went after it with his broom, but the broom swished right through it. That's when the man noticed something that chilled him to the bone. The dog was transparent, and it cast no shadow. The man shivered because now he knew what the dog really was. The dog was a ghost. The dog followed him everywhere he went, sometimes making its presence known with a cold draft on the man's ankles and neck. Sometimes it appeared as the tip of one black ear twitching nearby, or a pair of disembodied eyes. And every time that dog came near, the man screamed. Neighbors heard him from miles around. They watched him running down the road one time, dodging and hopping, almost as if there was something chasing him and nipping at his heels. But no one ever saw a thing. They began to whisper about him and worry that he was mental. One evening, the man tried to lure the dog outside his cabin by leaving a bowl of fresh food on the porch, and a bowl of water, too. But that very night, the dog slipped into the man's bed and burrowed under his blankets to warm itself. The man woke up freezing, and when he saw that ice-cold dog with its head on his pillow, he leaped straight into the air with a blood-curdling yell. He hit the floor, running, pulled on his trousers, and raced to the barn. He grabbed his saddlebags, packed one with hay and grain, and the other with apples and biscuits. Then he jumped onto his mule and galloped right out of Kentucky. The more miles he put between himself and that dog, the better. When he finally reached Missouri, he stopped to spend the night in a deserted cabin. He was sore from the long ride, hungry, and desperately tired. But when he opened the door, there was the little black dog, standing in the doorway. Well, the man just about jumped out of his skin. He threw himself onto his mule again and rode all the way back to Kentucky. By now, he was about to collapse, and so was the mule. And when he looked into his cabin, he fainted. There was the little black dog again, wagging its tail with a bone in its mouth. When he came to, he saw that the dog was carrying a bone in its mouth, and it certainly wasn't a hog bone, or any animal bone for that matter. It was a human bone, from a human leg. Blood dripped down from the dog's mouth, a dripping wet human bone covered in blood, and that dog was trying to drop it right on the man's foot. The man leaped to his feet and ran screeching down the road with that little black dog chasing him. The leg bone clutched in the dog's teeth. As blood dripped from the dog's mouth, the man screamed. Even the meanest dogs in the country slunk away when they sensed that little black dog was coming, their tails tucked between their legs. But the man couldn't get away from his ghostly companion. All the time he was pounding on his neighbor's door, the dog was trying to drop that bone on him. "Help!" he cried. The neighbor peered out the window and watched the man hop around the porch like a monkey, kicking at nothing. The neighbor was afraid to open his door, but he finally came out and asked, "What's wrong?" "I haven't had a moment's peace," the man cried, "since I killed a bothersome peddler and his little dog, too, and threw them both into my pond to rot." The man said, "See that little black dog?" he sobbed. "It's come back to haunt me." The neighbor couldn't see it, but he knew there was something wrong. He went to get the sheriff, and they pulled the bones out of the pond. When they buried the bones properly of the loyal dog in the graveyard right beside the bones of his master, and took the killer off to jail. And where was the jail? Right beside the graveyard, of course. The man never saw that little black dog again, but it haunted him for the rest of his life. Whenever he fell asleep at night, he was awakened by the overpowering smell of wet dog.